Hey everybody. So today I'm obviously in a new place and you can see that. So today I'm going to be teaching you guys how to make this shrug. I love them so much. I have like so many. Here's another one right here that I made. Now I made this one last year. I didn't post a tutorial or anything. Well, I did post one on TikTok, just a short tutorial. But now, just because I got a lot of questions, just because I feel like I've kind of perfected the shrug, here I am making a tutorial for you guys. It's very easy, very beginner friendly, and it uses the mesh stitch using treble crochet. You can do it with double crochet as well, but I just prefer treble because it works up a little bit faster. So to make this shrug, you're going to need to know how to slip knot, chain, and treble crochet. And that's it. So without further ado, let's get on with the tutorial. Okay, so to start our shrug, we are going to need to take one measurement. So what we're doing is we're going to measure from shoulder to shoulder, okay? You don't necessarily need to have a measuring tape for this. You could just use a piece of yarn, okay, the working yarn that you're using, and then put it right there to that shoulder, right there to that shoulder, snip it, and then there's your measurement. But because we have a measuring tape, we're going to use one today. So we're going to go, you know what, let's take this off so a little bit more. So we're gonna go from the center of our shoulder, or arm, whatever. You're gonna go all the way to the other shoulder. Don't do what I just did. Keep tension when you're measuring so you don't get a loose shrug. Okay. And that's 20 inches right there. So that's what we're gonna go off of, and that's gonna be the measurement that we start this whole thing on. Okay, so for the shrug, of course, you're gonna need a crochet hook. This is a 5mm. You could use a smaller hook, but because we're working with mesh, it doesn't have to be that tight. It's already an airy garment. A darning needle. Of course, some weight for yarn. This is loops and threads. I don't know what kind of, it's by the pound. I'll include it right here. And some scissors. Now, we're gonna start with a slip knot. You don't have to leave your chain super long at all. Just long enough that you can weave in at the end. And then we're gonna start our chain. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. 24, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40. And we're at 19 and okay, so we're back here now. We have our chain 63, which is a multiple of 3. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna add 8. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so this is acting as our first square. All right, so we're going to locate our 8th stitch from our hook. So we're going to count back 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So that's this one right here. We're going to wrap around and start our first treble crochet. And we are going to do this treble crochet in this back loop. Okay, so some people call it the back bar also, but that's what we're adding our treble crochet in. So there we go, and that's your first square. So now after you've done that, you're gonna add a chain 2, and then you're going to skip 2 stitches on your chain. So we're gonna go 1, 2, into this 3rd right here. We're gonna add another treble crochet. Okay, and then we're gonna chain 2 again. All right, and then we're just gonna keep doing that. Skip 2, 1, 2. And then chain 2. Okay, so then we're just gonna keep doing that all the way till we reach the end. You should if you counted correctly and you did your math correctly, you should be ending on your last chain. And if you counted correctly, you should be ending on your first chain there. So there we go. Perfect. Now that you've completed your first row, it should look something like this, okay? So now to start our next row, we are going to chain 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then we're going to turn our work. We have our chain 5, and we are going to treble crochet into the top of our treble crochet from the first row. And then we're going to just chain 2 again, and then continue like that. All right, so once we reach the end of, this is the beginning of the first row, so we're gonna count 2, and we're gonna go 1, 2, and then on that third one, we're gonna insert our, if you look, the chain is turned this way, it's the back. So now what I like to do is turn it to face me and insert my hook right in there. And then there we go. But again, you could do that whatever way you prefer. Okay, and then we're going to chain 5 to start row number 3 and turn. Again, turning the same way. So once you're finished row 2, it should look something like this. Okay, and then basically what you're going to do is you're just going to continue until you reach the desired length of your front panel. For me, that's around 6 to 8 rows. So I'm going to just continue, and then I'll go on to the next step. Somebody want to crochet here? So here's our first panel. This is the front panel essentially. So we went with 7 rows, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay. Now keep in mind this is for my size. If you are a size small or extra small, you're definitely going to want to go shorter. But like I said before, I'm a medium, so this is what works for me. Now we're moving on to the neck hole. So what we're going to do with that is we're going to continue this row as normal, and we're going to complete 3 squares. Okay, so that would be 1, 2, 3 treble crochets, excuse me. And then we're going to leave a long space for the neck, and then keep these 3 the same as well on this side. Now, if you want the neckline to not be as long, you're going to want to shorten these squares if you want your neckline to be a little bit shorter and be a little bit higher on your chest. Whereas if you want it to be an off-shoulder shrug, you might want to leave a little bit more space on the sides here. So you would probably do either 2 squares or just the 1. But again, that's up to your personal preference. You can do that whatever you like. We're going to continue this row as normal, and we're going to complete our first 3 squares for this row. Okay, 2. Okay, and there we go. Now, notice how I didn't chain 2, and that's just because we're going to have to do a little bit of math here. So we're going to count these squares here. We're going to leave 3, and we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take that amount of squares and we're going to multiply it by 3. So 16 times 3 equals 48. What we're going to do is we're going to take 48, and then we're just going to minus 1, because that 1 is going to be our first treble crochet right here. So right now we're going to chain 47. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47. Okay. So this step now creates the neck hole. So what we're going to do is we're going to connect our chain back onto our panel. So we're going to find our 3rd treble crochet, and we're going to start our treble crochet and insert our hook in the top of that treble crochet from row 7, and that's going to connect our neck hole back to our panel. So once you've connected your chain back onto your panel, you're just going to complete the remaining of the row as normal, and I'll meet you back at the end of the row. So now that your neck hole is done, you've essentially completed the front part of your shrug panel, because this is all worked with one panel. So what you're going to do now is you're just going to continue working as normal, and once you reach this chain here, it's going to be the same as your starting chain, and you're going to mirror your front panel. So for me, I have 7 rows here, and I'm just going to continue with that going upwards. So this is what it should look like once you've completed your first row of your back side. At this point, I definitely recommend making sure that your head fits through the hole. So that was our last row there. I'm just going to chain 1, and I'm just going to show you what this is looking like now. All right, so we have our front and back panel all done. So we're just going to fold it and make sure, there we go. As long as it matches up, you did it right. At this point now, I would suggest putting it over your head and making sure that it fits right. So let's just do that. So our neck hole, put it through there. That looks good. So you're just gonna make sure that your bottom corner can go under your armpit and that your back corner, hold on, let me see if I can reach it here. So here's our back corner. Join it to your front corner. As long as you can comfortably move in that, you're good to go. Okay, so that's where our shrug's gonna sit, right there. So now we're gonna connect this and we're gonna move on to the sleeves. We're gonna connect corner to corner, corner to corner. Okay, and we're gonna do that by simply locating our first chain. All right, so see that little space right there, and we are just going to slip stitch. There we go. And then we're going to chain 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so now we just created our first armhole. So now we're gonna start with the sleeve. So instead of working down this way, now we're gonna continue working this way in the sleeve. So instead of doing rows, at this point we're gonna be working in a round. So we're gonna do the same thing in the sense of chain 2 and then treble crochet into the existing stitches from the previous row. And we are just going to treble crochet in there. Now, because this is the side of a row, there's not gonna be really like a stitch that you're putting it into for your first row. So I just find that if you pull down right here with your other finger, you'll see a space. See that space right there? That's where we're gonna insert our hook. Okay, treble crochet, and then chain 2, and then continue. I don't like that. If you do it in one loop, it's gonna pull and then you're gonna make like a little hole kind of thing. If you like that, you can do that, but me, I personally don't like that. So I'll always try to grab at least 2 loops. So we've made it back to our starting chain here, okay? So we're gonna connect it just how we would connect and we'll meet you back at the from before. So we're gonna count 3 up, 1, 2, 3. In this third one, you are going to insert your hook, slip stitch, and you've just connected. So you've done your first row of your sleeve. This hole here does look a little bit bigger than the other one right here. But again, this is gonna be under your armpit. It's just giving you a little bit more breathable room when you're moving around. If it bothers you, you can always like do an extra treble crochet right here. Or if your arms are a little bit on the bigger side, you can also add in another extra treble crochet just so you have a little bit more breathing room when it comes to the arms. Just keep in mind that the sleeve is going to stay the same width the entire way through. So if it's a little bit bigger on the top, it's going to end up being bigger on the bottom as well. So to start your next round, okay, you're going to chain 5 as normal. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then instead of just continuing in the round, we are actually going to turn our work. And that's just because if we end up continuing in the round, we're gonna end up with a seam that wraps around the arm rather than a solid seam all the way through. And then you're just gonna continue with your row as normal, chain 2, treble crochet into the last treble in the previous row, and keep going. So it's just like that. You're gonna continue with the round, turning at every start of your round, and then we'll meet you back at the end of the sleeve. So I'm just finishing my last row here for the sleeve, chain 2, and now we're gonna connect it. 1, 2, 3. All right, and now we're gonna fasten off. So what I like to do is I like to chain 2, and then I'm gonna grab my scissors, give it a snip. You don't have to leave a super long tail, just enough that you can weave in the ends. And the reason that I like to chain 2 rather than 1 to fasten off is just because now when you tighten it, that top one is just gonna lock in the bottom one. And then there you go. All right, so that's our first sleeve. I did around, let's see how many rows I did. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. So I did 18 rows for the sleeve. This again is going to depend on the size, depending on how long you like the sleeves, how short you like the sleeves. But that's basically how it's gonna be. So sitting, here's the sleeve. Okay, so what we're doing here is we're connecting the armpit corners, and then we're gonna create our sleeve once more. So you're just gonna connect these two together. You're just gonna line these two corners up, and then insert your hook at the farmost corner through both stitches there. There we go. Okay, and then we're gonna grab our yarn. You don't have to fasten it with a slip stitch, but I prefer to. So I'm just going to do a slip stitch, insert it on the side of my hook, pull it through, and then chain 1. And that chain, I don't count it as a first chain just because we're just using it to fasten. So now we're going to chain 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. And then we're going to continue doing exactly what we did for the first sleeve. Remember to turn every row or your seam will get wonky, and make sure that your number of rows matches exactly to your first sleeve. So for me, that's 18. So I'm just gonna go ahead and do 18 rows, and we'll meet you at the end. So at this point, my shrug is now almost completed. I just have to weave in the ends. Or you can snip them off, burn them off, whatever tickles your fancy. I don't judge over here. And here it is. I know, just take it in. Just take it in. I'm just joking. Yeah, but here it is, ends weaved, fully completed, okay? If you don't like the length, you can't really do anything about the short, like making it shorter, but if you wanted it to be longer at this point, now you can just add on and just keep going. You could even make it into a dress if you really wanted to. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this. Thank you so much for watching. Please comment, like, subscribe, share, do something. Do something. You made it to the end. You know what I mean? You might as well. I mean, at least if you want to see another one. If you don't want to see another one, anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!